Alright guys, I'm going to talk to you about another thing, which is making special tools. A lot of times when you're out in the field, you run into situations where you don't have the right tool to do the job you need, or maybe there's a special tool and you don't have it, or you don't work for the same dealer as who makes the tool, and don't let that deter you from doing jobs. With a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of fabricating, you can make a lot of stuff to get you out of pinches. Working on this Terragator, and the key switch has whopped out. There's just nothing there. It doesn't have any spring tension to it anymore. So I need to take the key switch out, and this is an old GM lock cylinder. They use those columns in these Terragators, but if you look down here, you can see the shaft in the center, and then you have two holes on the right and the left. Anybody who's taken a steering wheel off knows that if you use a steering wheel puller set, which I have here, looks like this, a bolt puller set. If you use one of those, you can pretty much take off 90% of steering wheels. But in this instance, the puller, the bolt pattern, is too tight, and I can't get my flange to line up with these two holes. So I thought around a little bit, and I adapted a special tool that I had previously made to work in this scenario. So if you ever try and take a seal out of like an axle seal, or like an input shaft seal to rear end housing or anything like that, this tool here is pretty handy. It's a makeshift slide hammer. I used a pin out of a loader. I welded big washers to each end. I welded two nuts together down there. Welded a washer to the one end. Welded a washer to a nut on this end, but didn't weld it to the rod, so you have some adjustability in how much stroke you have. I double nutted this end of the threaded rod. And I made a couple of adapters. The first adapter I made, I took an old tap handle here. It'll focus. Well, it's not wanting to focus. And I welded on a nut that threads onto my threaded rod. And you can take this and open it up. And if you take a self-tapping screw and grind the head of it down where you would normally put a screwdriver bit, if you grind the head of that down square like a tap is, you can put that in here and tighten it down and drill yourself a pilot hole in the seal you're trying to yank out. Take this and thread it into the pilot hole you just drilled. Thread your threaded rod onto the end of it, give her a couple smacks, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to pull that seal right out. I made that tool for less than $5. I know what you're thinking. Okay, you could just buy a slide hammer. I do have a slide hammer kit. I have a Mac one, and sometimes you just need something a little smaller, a little lighter. You can use this to pull injector cups. I use it all the time with this end to pull seals out of stuff. And I just found an old tap handle I had laying around in my basement. Did that. But what I did for this steering wheel is I took a bolt. I found the bolt that was the right size pitch. Focus, focus, focus. No, hold back up a little bit. I found a bolt that was the right size pitch to thread down in the hole. I threaded it on. The other end threads onto my slide hammer kit here, my homemade one. Give her a couple whaps, and boom, steering wheel's out. Once the steering wheel is out, you can get down in here. Show you. Take the steering shaft out. Steering shaft. Lay that out. And if you look down right there at the tip of my finger, right there, there's a little tab. And if you turn the key forward, I don't know if I can do this with one hand, it'll be interesting. If you turn the key forward, and depress this tab, should be able to come over here to the side of this and yank it right out. GM cylinder lock removal. They also use these on Steigers. I know a lot of Steiger tractors use GM steering columns, some semis, some trucks, older straight trucks. I'll have the same steering column. So, I just figured I'd show you guys how I made a seal puller, a steering wheel removal tool. You name it, you can adapt it to do anything you want to, especially if you use something like coarse thread, threaded rod. You can find nuts for that fairly easy. If you have a MIG welder or a stick welder, or know somebody with a MIG or a stick, you can make anything you need. Alright, thanks. Guys, have a good one.